Okay, people, so welcome back to another episode of Saving You Money. It's not just saving you money; it's actually building awareness because one of the problems within the country areas, like where Senton and parishes like that they call deep rural, they call country, is a lack of awareness. So we kind of try spread awareness so people can make more or what does know an informed decision when they're going about doing these things. So we spoke about the CXCs last time, or the secondary level qualifications, how you have to pick them, the amount to pick, such and such. So now you do your CXCs or whatever qualifications you need, and you're looking to move on to the next step, which is either you're gonna stop and work, or you're gonna learn a skill, or you're gonna move on to tertiary level education. Now, when you're moving on to that category, you have two types of degrees basically. They have diplomas, but I'm not gonna talk about that. You have the associate degree and you have the bachelor. So after you finish your bachelor's, you can step up to master's or doctor or whatever. But we're just going to talk about the entry level ones. So you have the associate and you have the bachelor. Now what's the difference is, I actually have both, so I can say that I'm credible enough to speak on the topic. So you have the associate, which is a two-year degree, and then you have the bachelor's, which is 4 years. Now what is the main difference between the two? Besides one is 2 year and one is 4 year. When you graduate from the associates, you get something like this, right? Because it's not as easy as people think. It's actually a bachelor crammed into 2 years, so you actually have more modules to it. It's a bit harder. Let's cut it short and put it this way. When you graduate from the bachelor's, I don't know how other schools do it, but UTech furnishes you with this lovely tie right here. Yep, so after paying a few million, which is the next cost to go to university, it's gonna cost you a few $1,000,000, maybe one or two, depending on if you have they call it scholarships or not. So this one's gonna cost you a couple $100,000. This one gonna cost you a couple million. So you have the price difference, you have a year difference, and then you have what you get at the end, which is at UTech a tie versus at a community college you might win one of these little trophies. Alright, so that's the differences. Now each of these have its own place, and I'm gonna explain now. I wouldn't really recommend you doing an associate in today's age, today's day. Now I'm gonna explain why. Now, why I ended up doing this is because, as I said in the last video, I didn't do my CXCs how I should have, so I ended up doing too much and I ended up failing maths. Now, to get into the bachelor at that time, you needed to have maths and English, right? So I didn't have maths, so what they recommended was that I started this, and then I could take maths in the meanwhile, and then they told me that you could work on the side, I guess, after you get the associate, and then you could work towards your bachelor. So you got the associate, that was the recommendation. Do the associate, get the associate, work while going for the bachelor, and then you ended up having 2 degrees. So what really happened? Finished the associate, send out a whole ton load of applications, and I was driving around dropping applications until I was down to my last $500, because all my money I had left went into bus fare and printing and envelope, doing cover letters and resumes. Now I got called from a few establishments, and I went there, I did the interviews, and what they told me in almost all of the interviews is that there's such an influx of this on the market, which is the bachelor, that the associate is now kind of irrelevant. So they're saying this is now like CXC. So if you're planning to do this just to apply or just to get a good job, I would not recommend you doing the associate. Just go straight for the bachelor. Now, this does have a place though. If you're a person who you're thinking of starting a business, but you don't want to do the full bachelor, this is a good alternative because it's just 2 years. It's a lot cheaper and you get exposure to, you know, say you're doing business, because they have associate degrees in different things. You would have a degree, you'd be certified, you'd be exposed to, you know, the modules, and gain knowledge in the business areas and in econ and marketing and accounting. So it's not completely useless, but there is a place for it. But if you're planning to take this to go out and search for jobs, remember there's an influx of this on the market, and they kind of have this higher on the hierarchy than this. So these people are going to be shortlisted before you, or if you don't know what shortlisted means, they're going to select these individuals before they look at yours, right? So if 10 of you are applying for the job and so they only have 2 spots available in that company, more than likely the other 9 people with this can get selected over you with this. So that is that. Which would I recommend now? Now, to speak about this now, there's a lot of changes going on in the Jamaican market in regards to this. You're not gonna come out of school getting the job that you think you're gonna get doing a bachelor's. People have dropped the requirements for the jobs that they now want. So one time people used to say you need a degree, but I believe the government did impose something that they need to pay people in regard, you know, in accordance with the degree that they have. So what most businesses have done is they just drop their requirements. So now they'll put like CXC or something. So you're not gonna really get the job that you want with this. This is not gonna get you the life that you want. What this does, it opens opportunities. It's like a conversation starter with some very important people. So if you see somebody important, it's a good conversation starter, because you know you can say, you know, hi, I'm a student at the University of Technology, you know, I'm majoring in this area, that. So it's a topic for conversation. It's a conversation starter. It will get you into certain programs, like for example the work and travel programs that you see students going on. This is a requirement. You need to be enrolled in a university pursuing a degree, and you need to complete the first year before you can apply. I have another video talking about that, but I think I'll go some more into it. But yeah, this thing is really just a conversation starter and a gateway to a few better opportunities. But don't think that doing this can just drastically improve your life. It won't, it will not. Especially now in the pandemic, a lot of my peers who have left UTech with me, I mean, they're not working the jobs that they want. They have to take what's available. A lot of them are at call centers. There's nothing wrong with call centers, but the thing is, you do not need a degree to work at a call center. So if you do a degree, spend 4 years, you spend a couple million, and then when you come out and you look for the jobs, and surprisingly, the call centers are paying better than a lot of the places that required these things in the past. So that's another consideration before enrolling in this thing, because there's an opportunity cost of you spending 4 years in school versus you doing something else to come out and do a job that does not require a degree. Now, let's talk about areas. Now, if you're gonna major in business, which I did, what I would recommend, I did accounting. I would not recommend accounting because machines are taking over most of the, let's say now, the functions of the job. Most of my friends that are working at audit firms, they're basically, what we'd call them now, they're just doing data entry because the software does everything, and they're not gonna pay you a lot for a data entry analyst position or whatever they call it. I would suggest econ. I know econ, there's a lot of opportunities in econ. If I had to do it over again, I would have majored in econ and not accounting. Marketing, I would minor in marketing. I would major in that because you can buy books and learn how to market, and there's a lot of online courses for that. So in this area, I would recommend economics, or you do a major in finance. But besides that, go with this. This will give you a lot of knowledge. Most of the knowledge I got here, I learned the same things here. It was just a bit more advanced, but there are things you can learn on your own. And when you enlist in this thing, which is the bachelor's degree program, you're going to end up on YouTube a lot of the time, because when you go to class, they bring you like a syllabus, which is basically a skeleton of what you're going to do. And it is then your job to go out and do your research and add flesh to that skeleton. So basically they just give you a guideline of what to learn, and then you're gonna have to find it yourself. So a business degree in 2020, 2021. As I said, if you're doing econ, if you're doing finance, it can work. But like I said, you have to just think about these things. Now, if you're in the field of engineering, or you're doing something in medicine, you definitely need a bachelor's or whatever they have. I think they start at bachelor's also, but you definitely need to go that route because you need a qualification. Business, not so much. Okay, because another thing that's going on in Jamaica right now, a lot of businesses are doing contract hiring. So with this, they don't pay NIS for you, they don't pay anything for you. So you don't really have any benefits of working there. And also, they can terminate you at any time, because most of them do like 3-month intervals or 6-month intervals. So every 3 months, you'll probably be wondering, am I gonna have a job next month or not? So these are things you need to consider when doing this. Not this, the bachelor's. A lot of people have taken student loans to do the bachelor degree program. The jobs really are not paying enough for them to pay it back. Some of them have not found jobs to pay it back, so you really need to think these things through before you get started. But as I said, I did business, so I can only comment from the business, from a business perspective. And I had a few friends in other faculties, you know, so I'm just giving you based off what they told me. But to be honest, if you're thinking of opening a business, do the bachelor. You do not do the associate. You do not need the bachelor. You don't even need this. But if you just want a qualification, you need some exposure to the different areas of business. This is a good alternative. This is not a good alternative for the long run. Or if you just have some money and you want to kill some time, you can go do associate degree. It is not easy. I believe when we started this, the class had 37, my class, and only 9 of us graduated on time. So, and a boy something. Most people drop out after the first year because it's a very condensed program. It's basically this smashed into 2 years. So this is 4, this is 2. They smashed this into 2 years. So I got a lot of value out of this. I moved on because of, as I said, when I went on the scene to apply for jobs, I wasn't really getting anywhere with this. So before you think of enrolling into one of these programs, think about it and know that this thing is not going to really have much use. You might have a chance if you know some people and you can get in on, you know, as I'm call it, links, because nepotism is running Jamaica right now. Jobs are no longer offered, or rarely offered on basis of meritocracy. So this thing is just for exposure. This thing will get you a basic job and then you can work yourself up from there. So don't think doing this is gonna get you out of debt or make you rich or whatever. All this says, I mean, I remember in the last year of doing this, I know I felt so good because remembering after I just did this and the guy told me, or a few people told me on those interview panels that this is just, this is becoming irrelevant because of the influx of bachelors on the market. I said, all right, let me step myself up. So I went and I got this. And when you're about to graduate, you know, you're saying, yeah, I mean, I just stepped myself up and I'm ready for the market now. Them can't tell me nothing. They had a meeting and they came to the meeting and said, this does not mean anything. The bachelor only means you can be trained. Right now you need to move on to the masters or whatever. And I said, you know what? This thing is just a never-ending cycle. I mean, it's for some people, but it's not for me because remember, just finished this, paid a lot of money, cost a couple of $100,000 plus the cost of going to school and, you know, lunch money, books, projects, this, that, couple $100,000. Then you do this, a couple $1 million Jamaican, and then now after spending a couple $100,000, couple million, you're ready for touch the market, say yes, I'm gonna start make some money now, help myself, help my family, better myself in a life. Them say, hold on man, this only means you can be trained, this don't mean anything. You got to go back now and do the masters or get some, in my case it was ACCA, which is a whole different story. You don't need to do a degree if you want to become an accountant. And I wish they had told us this before we started, because they ask you in these interviews what you want to do, and you know, you tell them and they sell you the interviews, the degrees regardless, and then at the end of the degree then they point you to the ACCA. I don't know if it's some kind of joint union or what they have going on, but if you want to do accounts, and that's definitely what you want to do, you don't need to do a bachelor's. Find out what are the entry requirements for ACCA or the CPA if you go in that route. Those are both qualifications for accountants, so you're a certified accountant. Check the requirements, look into it, do the requirements, which are going to be some entry tests or entry exams, whatever, and then go straight into those programs. You don't need to waste millions doing this just to find out later that that's what you needed to do. So that's it for me today. See you next time.